Welcome to Asean Biz, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm Andrew Chia.
And I'm Eric Chong.
And we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that affects ASEAN countries.
Our direct main story today is survival tips for ASEAN small businesses. But before that, let's look at our current business updates on the topic of property updates. Yes, Andrew, what's about the property updates in our Malaysia market at this moment?
It seems that the prices are going down, lah.
Yes, and we actually see that in KL, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, we see a lot of properties growing up. We see
Going to
launch. We see a lot of condominiums, high-end condominiums launching.
Right. I believe not only in Kuala Lumpur, in neighboring countries like Singapore also.
And in the pipeline, we can see that about at least 3 or 4 mega mall is coming up. Mm-hmm. Right. So we're not sure whether this mega mall will survive, but at this moment, there's already a few shopping mall can't make it, and it's closing down. Right. Because the past few years have seen property prices soaring to historical highs, with all categories of properties making capital gains of up to 200% or more. Residentials, commercials, industry, agricultural land and buildings all went sky high.
Right, yeah.
So this is a phenomenon.
You remember just 2 or 3 years ago, property prices were very high, right?
Yes, that's true. And we can see that everybody is rushing into the market. Jump into the bandwagon.
And the funny thing about human beings is that when it's high, everybody will buy. And the opposite, when it's low, nobody will buy.
They always have this fear that the price will keep on increasing, then makes them beyond reach. Or they will buy.
If I don't buy now, it will be more expensive later, right?
Yeah, because everybody have this belief that property prices can only go up and will never comes down.
And actually, Eric, it's actually true, but the thing is you have to take it at intervals like 5-10 years like that, then it's true. If you say 1 or 2 years, it may not be true.
It may not be true, but it's said that a lot of people who jumps into the property market thinks that it's like a share market.
Yeah,
the volatility is there.
The timeline. They expect capital gain something like 3 to 6 months from the day they buy,
and
right?
Frankly speaking, it's not possible when it comes to property.
Yeah.
So the only things that when it comes to property, when you see 3 to 6 month time, is that you got to put in more money and more money.
But the problem, Eric, even if the house appreciates within 3 to 6 months times, they are not selling.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yes.
Because when they sell, they have to pay a lot of taxes, and they are thinking I've paid interest and agreement fees and stuff like that. Why do I want to sell?
And also,
so they hope that it will go higher.
Yes, and also the bank loan that they have committed, the bank will charge them penalties.
Right, yeah.
So, and then there's real property gain tax on top of that. So, which makes them not viable to sell during
it sounds
short
like silly a bit, isn't it? It goes up, but they're not selling. They just hope that it will go up. When it actually goes up, they're not selling.
Then they hopes that it will keep on
going up forever.
So we have also quite a number of our property investor friends who is very positive about the market.
Yeah, I'm always positive about the property market.
Yes, it's just a matter of time, whether 10 years or 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's just that whether you are holding it for 10 years or 20 years, but not 3 or 5 years, please.
Yes. So what happened was prices peaked 2 years ago and have been coming down steadily. And property investors have since been in denial. Denial means they say not really a problem. New launches are still selling well, that's what they say. And only a few categories of properties are affected. Maybe shops are affected or offices and maybe retail lots are affected. I'm buying terrace houses and condos. The price is good. And they also say that the stock market is still high. The economy is good. There's no problem. So they keep buying. And shopping centers, you just pay a visit to places like Mid Valley or KLCC. They're bustling with shoppers. So this shows that the economy is fine. Everything is fine. So there's no problem. I'll keep buying. And the banks are also still lending money. Maybe now they are a little bit more selective. Probably your customer is not so rich. That's why the bank doesn't lend to him. But generally speaking, there's no problems. the banks are still lending money, so everything is fine, and they keep buying, right?
Yes, that's true, and it makes them feels that the market is still very good. Because looking at the whole market, they can see that you see the only argument they put that is you see plenty of new cars on the road.
Right.
People still have money to buy new cars.
Exactly.
But they didn't know that certain luxury car are actually giving huge discount because they can't sell it.
Same like the houses.
Same like houses, and you can see that there's an abundance of condominiums still unsold. And if you pay more careful attention to the progress of those condominiums that is work in progress, it's actually slowed down.
Right, yeah. So, Eric, what exactly is happening today?
Yeah, like as the developers still want to carry on with the business, so in today's time, developers are offering unbelievable incentives to encourage buyers. Such as like lower prices,
right?
Free agreement fees and stamp duty, free car park.
Everything free.
Everything free. Free maintenance fees for a number of years. Sometimes they give it 3 years or 5 years free maintenance.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, right?
That's a lot of money, especially when you look at the high-end condos, full facilities condos. 1 month probably you pay to $300 to $400
Yeah,
easily.
so the buyer feels like, wow, this is really worth it.
Yes, but they didn't know that it's already in the house price. And they are paying forward. Okay, and a reduction of 10% down payment to just 1 or 2%.
Wow, that's a lot of discount,
which makes
right?
it very dangerous.
Very attractive, Eric.
And dangerous, especially for young buyers. And recently I knows a few friends who are very young, 20 over years old, and they said, I already have 2 condos. Then I said, how much is down payment? Oh, it's very little, only 3,000. So if you have 6,000 in the pocket, you can have 2 condos already.
Wow, I wish I could have bought that.
Yeah. And then the installment payment allowed for down payment amount.
Even down payment is less already, and they even give you installment payments, you mean?
Yes. So let's say the down payment is 10,000 or 20,000. You can give it in installment. You pay 1,000.
You pay 1 or 2,000. They accept that.
They accept that.
You mean they accept that actually?
Yes. And as long as you sign the SMP, that's all.
Now, why would developers do such things like that?
So that in terms of business, at least they felt that the elusive sales is there.
Right.
The sales is there. They sold the units, and they can safely say their project is a sold out.
Wow, yes, that's a good marketing for them.
Then whatever leftover units, the people will rush for it.
Right, so what else is free?
Well, you get free air cons.
Wow, that's
free kitchen renovations.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and some even give you a free cabinets, built-in cabinets, built-in wardrobes, all this.
So many things free.
Yes.
Eric, why not we just rush and grab some units now?
I think after our show, I will go down and
immediately
place a booking.
No lah, Eric, you must be joking. There must be something funny going on, right? Why didn't the developers offer all this a couple of years ago?
Because a couple of years ago, the market is still very good, right? In terms of pricing, people are chasing for the price, people are chasing for the products.
Yeah.
And now, after they have chased the products, the project is completed, handover time, and you'll see that there's abundance of
stock of units left.
Yes, because
so after all these freebies, Eric, do you think their sales have increased recently?
Well, I would say the sales will increase.
By a certain amount.
By a certain amount. The freebies will actually attract those people who actually wanted to stay in the condo. They are not actually investor.
With all these freebies, Eric, do you think they can sell all their outstanding units?
I don't see that it's that easy to sell, right? Because
even with all the freebies,
because with all the freebies thrown in, easily you are looking at a unit of condos within 1,000 square feet will cost you around 700,000.
That's still quite a bit.
And let's say if you need to come up with 20% down payment, that's 140,000 cash. Can you imagine that in today's time? How many people can come up with 140,000 cash?
Yeah, Eric, don't talk about the 700,000 ringgit unit of a condo. Recently, I had a friend who bought a 500,000 unit of condo. And can you imagine, a rough calculation of how much you need to pay the banks would be something like 2,500 ringgit, isn't it? 5% of that amount.
Yep.
So you need to rent it out for that kind of money in order to be able to cover your bank installments. So I think that is quite difficult at this time, right?
Right, that's true. At this market, is not possible to fetch such a high rental.
So he was offered a rental of 1,600 ringgit only. So this lady, a friend of mine, he's scratching head. Should I rent it out and cut a bit of loss, or should I hold on and get a buyer, get a tenant who is willing to pay more?
I believe that the rental market is quite stagnant.
Yeah, it's a bit slow right now.
If your area is 1,600 to 1,800, that's not possible to you to fetch 1,900.
Generally, Eric, I believe the middle class people in Kuala Lumpur city, they would not be forking out something like 2,500
for a rent to rent a condo, because by forking out 2,500, they would have paid for the installment already.
Right, they could have bought their own unit.
They have bought their own units. Probably they don't have enough money for the down payment.
Right.
As well as to move-in costs.
So, Eric, all these point to the fact that the property market is on the way down, right? And I've already seen some auction signs being put up, even though the prices are still high.
Yes.
You know. So, what else do you think will happen after this?
Some of the developers will get caught. Right?
That sounds serious.
Especially those developers who start numerous projects concurrently, because it's affected the cash flow.
Over leveraged.
And there will be abandoned projects. So it's just a matter of how the purchasers get caught in which project.
So the developers get caught will result in investors get caught.
Yes.
I used to have many friends who keep telling me they have bought units whereby the developers have run away, and they have been paying the banks for the past 10 years or more, without a house to stay.
So I think at this moment, only those prominent developers are able to carry out with their projects.
Right.
But it will be a tough time for them as well, because it's not easy to sell.
Yeah, the big boys may be able to ride out the storm in terms of cash flow, but they might not get their sales amount that they want.
And also the profits that they want.
Right. And they cannot sell so high already.
And so you will see substandard quality, or the facilities will be shortchanged.
Right, yeah. Recently I got a house where the owner got the key, handed over to him that unit for 1 year. The defect was not taken care of.
Yeah, probably the contractor have not been paid.
Definitely. There must be a reason, right?
Yes.
And it seems that developer is quite reputable and financially strong. So why didn't that thing get taken care of, right?
Yes, that's true. So it happens a lot of time. So in this sense, the investor will get caught. Banks increasing BLR. Then they're faced with a higher installment. And at the same time, they cannot rent it out or cannot sell it out.
Actually, maybe they can rent it out, but the amount they want, say, for example, 2,500, someone will be paying them 1,500.
Yeah.
So that is almost the same as cannot rent, isn't it?
Yes,
because
it's the same.
You wouldn't want to rent at
But
that
at the
amount.
same time, if we work it back, it's rather than you forking out 2,500 every month.
It's better than a big fat zero, right?
Than a big fat zero. So just bear in it, and then probably in few years' time, the market will be better. The rental market will be better. Then you are able to recover.
And just a few days ago, Eric, I had a friend who asked me whether there's anyone who wants to buy her house for 3.7 million ringgit.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
So I told her 3.7 million is something that's very difficult to sell, because recently we had a friend who bought a 2 million semi-D house, and the bank only lent him 1 million.
Wow.
He had to fork out 1 million himself, and luckily he's rich enough to fork out. But Eric, how many people have 1 million cash in their bank account to buy a house, right?
Okay.
So if you buy something like 3.7 million and the banks only lend you 50% of that, how much money would you need to fork out?
Yes. And the next question you got to ask your friend, is he staying in the house?
No, it's quite vacant, because according to her, the feng shui is very bad. And since she bought and moved in a year and a half ago, nothing has been going right. So I pointed out to her that it's not due to the feng shui, it's because generally business and markets are bad, right?
Bad, yes.
But she doesn't believe. She says that, no, it's the feng shui of my house that's making my business bad, not the other way around. And I must sell the house.
People choose to believe what they wanted to believe. That's always happened. Yeah,
So Eric, if you get caught, what is going to happen next?
if you
like
get caught,
stuck.
you got to bite the bullet and sell way below market, or try by all means to keep payment installment until the storm is over, at least a few years from now.
Hey Eric, that sounds like bad news, right? Who would want to sell way below market?
Yeah, if you don't want to sell it, just by all means keep the installment payment going
And
on.
don't forget, Eric, I bought it way above market. If I sell now at market, I'm already making a loss. And you are asking me to sell way below the market. Hey, come on. Don't do that to me, friend.
So it's all about holding power, right? And the bottom line is never give up on property investment, despite all the things that we said.
Yeah.
You know? Just
If
learn
you
the
realize
basics.
you have made a mistake, learn and study how to invest and how to read the markets. Don't buy at the historical high and then be forced to sell at the low.
historical low. So
That's
it's
very bad.
common. Well, people make all this mistake because it's human nature.
So guys, that's exactly what is happening right now in Malaysia, as well as in other couple of countries around us, such as Singapore, where we understand that the property market there is a bit soft also, right?
And some of the prices actually dropped by 20 to 30%.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So even in Hong Kong also affected.
Right. Yeah.
So you can see that it's not only typical to Malaysia. Yeah.
How about Thailand and maybe Indonesia and Philippines? I think it's not really that good.
It's not really that good as well. But Thailand and Indonesia being a very big country,
Yeah.
right? They have a big land, so probably only the city center will be affected.
I believe, Eric, not only ASEAN is affected, the whole Asia is affected. China's property prices have been coming down already for a long time, right?
And
also Hong Kong.
now the developers are getting more innovative. They are thinking of having a one-stop center where people will stay there, will work there, will shop there, will eat, sleep, drink there.
Wonderful idea. That's called a satellite township or something
Satellite township.
like that.
So they wanted to have a complex that have everything in it, so people don't get out of the complex.
Not really a bad idea, right?
Yes. So it's good, but let's look at who can afford this kind of development.
Right, but sounds a bit boring, lah.
Yeah.
Isn't
So
it? You
it's
don't
more like a Pinocchio island. You are trapped inside the island.
Well, guys, that's our current business update for today. We'll be back shortly with more interesting updates on ASEAN Biz. Stay tuned, guys. Welcome back, folks. You're listening to ASEAN Biz. Before we bring on our main story for this edition, Eric is going to share with us his funny business moment, and the title of his story today is Birthday Present.
Little Benny decided to buy a present for his Uncle Sam's birthday. So with his older brother help, he bought a present, gift wrapped it, and brought it over to his uncle. His uncle, knowing that Benny's father manufactured apple juice and seeing a red spot on the bottom corner of the box, decided to have some fun with Benny by trying to guess what was in the box. Said Uncle Sam, dipping his finger on the red spot and taking a quick taste. I'm going to guess it's a case of apple juice. No, said Benny, jumping up and down, clearly enjoying the game. Not apple juice. Not apple juice? Said Uncle Sam, clearly surprised. After another quick taste and a brief pause, he guessed again. Is it apple cider? No, said Benny, practically squealing in excitement. It's a puppy.
Thank you, Eric, for that funny business moment. Guys, you're listening to ASEAN Biz, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm your host, Andrew Chia, and together with me is Eric Chong, and we bring you all the business news that involves ASEAN countries.
The title of our Durian main story today is Survival Tips for ASEAN Small Businesses. This article is produced courtesy of CENFIS, the Centre for Financial Intelligence Studies. Okay. So
Right, Eric, you got the
come-
nail on the head.
Yes. Before we came to our main story, we will be talking about property, and property is a slowdown.
I
So
think the root cause is the same,
the
affecting
same.
property and affecting businesses,
everything, yes. So there's a slowdown. The economy and the markets everywhere are slowing down. From the US to Europe, where we had Brexit earlier, to China, which is also slowing down. Can you imagine? China is also slowing down.
That is the bad news.
That's the bad news.
Couple of years ago, it was US and Europe. There's over printing money and slowing down. But China was still going strong. The engine was chugging along, and everybody was buying properties everywhere, buying expensive handbags, luxury goods all over the place, then all over the world.
Tourism spending also dropped. Right. So, but we still see some influx of tourists. But then whether they are spending as much, that's a different story.
Yeah, I think in our earlier edition, we mentioned that China realized that their household debt is going up and getting very high. Although comparatively to some countries, it's still very low, but it's a big jump from a few years ago. So they are really trying to slow down their spending
because we know that all this while for the past 10, 20 years, China's household are not actually in debt in a way.
Yeah, now they know how to spend.
Now they know how to spend. They will buy more things on loan.
Yeah,
and they spend more with credit cards. So these are the things that have been caught on. So do they call it a Western culture?
Probably imported some Western culture in.
Right. So they imported the Western spending habits.
Yeah. So maybe we do a quick review on what is happening in the world today. Why markets are slowing down and the economy is slowing down. I believe one of the factors is the oil price, right?
Yes.
Some years ago it was $100 or higher than 100. And recently it's always lower than 50 for past many months already. And sometimes it's even lower than 40.
And this is actually hurting the oil and gas industries.
Right. But then, Eric, it's good news for somebody and bad news for somebody, right?
Definitely. It will be good news for the consumer.
Yeah, so why is the world slowing down when you have oil price? A lot of people need to consume oil a lot,
Yes.
So it's good news for them.
And also, it will be bad news for the oil and gas industries because their costs are very high. And production costs will keeps on running. It will be still the same production cost, but at a lower sales value.
Right.
So recently, I think just a few days ago, one of my friends, a very old classmate, he's in the oil and gas industries. So he services oil rigs. So he says even his order have actually dropped.
Right, yeah.
So in
the world demand is weaker, right?
In the past few years, he says he's practically unable to be on land at all.
Even our
most
oil
of his time
company,
will be the oil rig.
Eric, our national oil company are retrenching staff, isn't it?
Yes. So, but then he said this year he practically, especially during the first 4 months of the year, he actually sits at home for 3 months without any order.
Oh, that sounds bad.
That sounds very bad because he's an expert in the oil rig technical support.
Yeah, I heard that some experts are taking over like manual jobs, like office jobs or some supervisory role without much involving their expertise already.
Yeah, so
and according their pay getting halved.
And according to him, the oil and gas are actually doing a haircut on the top people, the higher ranking people.
Oh, sounds bad.
Because those high rank people are actually, those high in the hierarchy are actually the high pay people. And they're actually doing a haircut on that sector.
So I think you're right, Eric. Those countries that are heavily dependent, rather oil producing countries, they suffer the most. Like our country, our revenue is definitely half when the oil price is half, right?
Yes, that's true. But the expenses are the same. Yes.
Right, yeah, because we have been used to spending so much.
Yes, you pay the same amount of wages, you pay the same amount of so-called consultant fees.
Yeah, and Eric, if you think that is bad, I think the worst and the most high-profile one is Venezuela, which is a big oil-producing country. And right now, it seems that their citizens cannot even put food on the table.
Yes, because they are too dependent on
on the oil. But
sales.
The government so far has been very good. We understand that their oil price, the petrol at the oil pump is very cheap.
Yes, I think probably they are one of the cheapest in the world.
Yeah, but how come right now they do not have enough money to buy food? And they are having riots and stuff like that.
Probably during the good times, it all boils down to financial intelligence also.
Yeah, they didn't save for the rainy day.
They didn't save for a rainy day. So during the good times, applies to, I would say, 99% of the people. During good times, they will spend.
Yeah, I believe during good times, they have a high corruption also. and
Yes.
bad times equally high. That's
Equally
why
high. So
money all gone.
money all gone. And who's suffering? The
man
middle
on the
class
street.
people, the men on the streets are suffering. It will not affect the rich people.
Yeah, and talking about corruption, I believe corruption has got something to do with our current economy and the markets in the world. Because a big country like China, not only they are trying to curb the household debt and cut spending, there's a fierce fight going on against corruption by Xi Jinping. And this has resulted in a huge number of government officials refusing to spend money for fear of getting caught for corruption. So they don't frequent casinos anymore, no more nightclubs, night spots, and fancy restaurants because the government having a spotlight on them. They see any government official spending money like water, they'll be arrested almost immediately. So you can see all these businesses are badly affected, right?
Yes.
And the tourism to many Asian countries, including ASEAN countries, are also badly affected. Because they don't want to spend money anymore.
Yes.
Or
So
they actually try to spend quietly without anybody doing.
So when they want to leave the country, they are on the spotlight. So they not leave the country. So mostly they will do domestic tourism. Right. We will take a short break and be back with our story shortly. Stay tuned, guys.
Welcome back. You're listening to ASEAN Biz, and our Durian main story today is survival tips for ASEAN small businesses. But before we continue with the concluding part of our story today, Eric will give us a quick health tip. And his story for today is workout tips.
Thanks, Andrew. Over here we have a short 2 tips for working out. Right, I've seen so many people are doing it differently. Number 1 tips, the secret of stretching. Stretching, actually we divided into two types of stretching. One is the dynamic stretching, one is the static stretching. Okay.
Right now, Eric, I think it's very popular. There are people are practicing this stretching exercise from China, some gurus who are telling you that if you can stretch your muscles, you can live longer.
It's true in a sense because it will give your range of movement much better and your muscle will be much more elastic. But
that's true.
It's sad to see that a lot of people are doing it wrongly.
Probably overstretching.
Overstretching.
And damaging their muscles.
They thought that
instead.
the more you stretch, the more it damage your tendon, it damage your muscles,
you
and
break.
the inflammation is there. And a lot of people are doing it upside down. Like I mentioned earlier, dynamic stretching should be do during warm-up and before any workout. And static stretching is after your workout. Right? But a lot of people are doing it the opposite way. Because when you do static stretching, you are actually telling your muscle, okay, that's the end of my workout. You got to relax your muscle already.
Right.
You know, but then when you do that in the beginning of your workout, you're actually hurting your muscle. So come back to the secret of stretching, whether it's dynamic or static. When you stretch, ease your body into position until you feel the stretch and hold it for about 25 seconds. That is static stretching, right? Breathe,
25 seconds.
25 to 30 seconds depends.
Right.
Depends on how long you can hold. But don't overstretch. Okay, when you overstretch, you can once you feel the pain, that means you are overstretching. Breathe deeply to help your body to move oxygen-rich blood to those sore muscles. This after workout, because after workout you have sore muscle. Don't bounce or force yourself into an uncomfortable positions. Alright, so I see a lot of people are doing bouncing as they do stretching, which is very bad for your tendon and for the muscle. This happens when you go to the garden. You see a lot of elderly folks when they start to bounce as they stretch.
Yeah, Eric, when you talk about an uncomfortable position, it reminds me of yoga, where people practice. What I see, it feels like quite uncomfortable, but they like to practice it so they don't mind.
Yes.
So do you think it's healthy if they overstretch?
When you start to do that difficult poses, those difficult poses, it will hurt. But
Right,
as your tendon, your muscle get more flexible,
I think you're right, Eric.
easy.
I have a friend who is an orthopedic surgeon. He tells me that there are a lot of yoga masters who go to him for consultancy. They have damaged tendons, damaged muscles and all that. and people are saying that yoga is very healthy. These guys are all coming to my clinic.
Yes. In actual fact, yoga is definitely a very healthy exercise.
But
it's just
maybe
that
some they overdo it, right?
they overdo it and they treat it like challenges.
Yoga is stretch more than
yoga
my
is
friend.
all about yourself, and you got to look into your age as well, your body size. If you are very young, let's say about 19, 20 years old, small size, you can do a lot of things, right? But
The
if
challenging part is when you see that old lady or old man, 80 years old, in that wonderful yoga position.
yes, but you
You
didn't
tell
walk.
yourself, I also can do that.
But you didn't walk over to ask him or her how long have you been doing
yeah,
yoga.
that guy has been training for so long.
Probably he's been doing that for 40 years. And you are just done it for 4
yeah,
days.
so this guy gets an injury, right?
So they get injury. So it's not actually about the yoga that caused the injury. It's
Yeah,
all
the way
about-
they do it.
It's the way they do it and the mentality of doing it. Yoga should be a very relaxing exercise. So when you start on yoga, you got to start slow, easy. Right? The next tips is do your weights works out first. Right? It's very common when you go to the gym, the first thing you see people will be on the treadmill, start running, start cycling.
You mean it's unlike the exam where you do the easy questions first?
Actually, the easy part of the workout is actually weight training. It's not the cardio training. Cardio training is the most difficult part.
So you do it last.
So you do it
it's
last.
the same like your exam.
It's the same
You
like
do the
the
easy part
easy
first.
part. So the expert says that weight training should be done first because it is a high intensity exercise compared to cardio. No doubt it's high intensity, but it does not cost you so much of stamina. Cardio will need a lot of stamina. So your body is better able to handle weight training early in the workout because you are fresh, you have the energy, you need to work it. So it's double up as your warm up to your cardio exercise. So conversely, cardiovascular exercise should be the last thing you do at the gym because it helps your body recover by increasing blood flow to the muscles and flushing out lactic acids, which build up in the muscles while you weight training. It's the lactic acid that makes the muscles feel stiff and sore.
And painful, right?
And painful. So a lot of people will have muscle soreness, but the next thing is that after all the workout, 2 days later, they will feel another set of muscle soreness.
Right. So guys, do your weights first. After that, do your
Cardio exercise.
Great, yeah. Thank you, Eric. That's a great health tip. Let's continue with our Durian main story today. That is survival tips for ASEAN small businesses. So, Eric, just now we mentioned that the causes of the global slowdown affecting ASEAN,
Yes.
basically all this deleveraging and cutting spending and all
spendings, all these are in the government level. Okay.
So what
administration level.
this has done is to create a situation whereby a lot of small businesses today, especially when you talk about Malaysia, you just take one example. The restaurants in the evening are really quiet,
Yes.
because the first things to get is the property and construction sector. Usually that is the first sector
First
to
sector
get
that
hit.
spend money.
And that is also, like people say, the first sector to recover, right?
Yes, that's true. Because
But right
after-
now, it's having a lot of bad spin-off when you can't sell properties for a profit. You don't go to the restaurants to celebrate with your friends, right?
yeah, you can't even go to a cafe to order a coffee.
Yeah, and your friend operating a furniture shop or a renovation business will have no business because you didn't buy a house.
Yes, so there's no renovation to be done. Even though renovations, now with all the condos giving out freebies, even the renovators will have lesser job already.
Yeah, so the renovators have less jobs and more collection problems where people they do the job for, don't pay them
Yes.
or pay them less.
So in these senses, or in these cases, small businesses have to rethink themselves and have to re-engineer themselves.
Right, yeah, because the small businesses right now are feeling the brunt of the slowdown. And the first thing that happens is sales drop. Some drop 10, 20%. Some generally across the board, I think it drops 30%.
Yes, even though those who have enjoying good sales, they might not be enjoying good margin at this moment.
Right, yeah. And they even have collection problems
Collection
on
problems.
that reduced amount of sales.
And also probably their customer will lay down different, more taxing conditions on their account.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So with all this headache and stress, what do we suggest that the small businesses do in ASEAN countries?
In the first place, I think the small businesses need to review their USP.
Right, unique selling proposition.
They have to find out what is their USP if they don't know.
Exactly. A lot of people actually don't know what is USP and the importance of having the USP.
Yeah.
It is very, very important because it simply tells your customer why he should be buying from your shop
and not
instead of your competitor's shop, isn't it?
So you've got to analyze and strengthen your USP. So in this sense, I believe that a lot of local small businesses might not be able to analyze or strengthen their USP.
So when business is bad, Eric, people analyze a lot of things. Maybe they analyze their product, their services maybe is not up to the mark. They analyze the quality, they want to do something better.
And sad to say, as you put it earlier with your friends, I think the first thing they analyze is their feng shui and their location.
Because actually that may not be the first. That could be the last according to them because they have already analyzed everything. Why my customer not buying from me? Why is the economy bad? Why this and that? And when they have no answer, they turn to feng shui.
They only ask the why, but they didn't investigate. They didn't delve into it.
Yeah, I've been working equally hard and probably even harder than I've ever worked before.
They don't take action on the why.
So the thing probably is they didn't spend time to analyze the strategy, the tactics, and the information part of their business.
Yeah, so that's the thing. People will always find the easy way out. It's the same thing like you mentioned earlier. Your official friends keep on having this yoga practitioner patients.
Yeah.
So the first thing the doctor will blame yoga.
Right, yeah. So because sometimes they get a bit confused because why they go for feng shui is that they see some of their friends are actually still doing good business, maybe even better business
because of their feng shui.
Probably they don't know the reason why. The actual reason I believe is because the friend could have a better USP.
Yeah,
they could be selling a product that other people are not selling, or they could be having giving service that is much better than others. I was talking to a person doing renovation yesterday, and this guy is doing steel gates and roller shutters and all this gate stuff lah. So he is very much in demand because they say his handiwork, his workmanship is very good, and the price is same as all the other competitors. Of course, Eric, if you were given a choice with the same price, you would go for a better guy with his workmanship, isn't it?
Workmanship.
So all his other competitors are scratching their head. Why this guy is getting all the business? Actually, there is a reason.
That's a reason. But when their friends ask him, probably the first thing he answers, it's my feng shui.
Or I'm having a better luck.
Better luck. So
I'm having a good run,
So instead of giving the true answer,
of course, why should he
should just give
his
a very
competitors
simple
a good answer, right? Yeah.
So he just said feng shui. So the next thing, this guy who was doing poorly will go and look at his feng shui.
First, run to the temple to pray harder.
Right, that's true. And the next thing is that didn't review. They have to do is to review their competitions.
Right, yeah. Some people, they don't know that their competitors are giving better quality or better service. So they are still struggling. Why am I not getting the same business when I'm in the same industry?
Yes. And are they cheaper? Are they faster? Are they giving better payment terms?
Right. So what we advise is stop looking at your own business. Go over and look at your competitor. See why is their quality that better than you, or is their pricing better than you? Sometimes, the world is a very competitive place. When everybody's quality is good, then somebody will have a cheaper price.
Yes.
When everybody has a cheaper price, somebody will be able to deliver faster. No? Cheap and good and fast. Okay? And finally, cheap and good and fast is not enough because every one of your competitors have that.
Then they
so
give
what happens is
payment terms.
Exactly, payment terms. So if your industry is in that kind of situation, it's high time for you to take a good look whether you should still stay in that industry, isn't it?
Yes, or to move on to another one.
Yeah, like they say, there's already a lot of blood on the floor. Time to look for blue ocean or do something else.
And
or,
even the government policies are looking at blue oceans.
yeah, actually, it's a big term with a very simple meaning. Try to look for some other location or do something else that's different
Or
from your competitor.
re-engineer yourself, because when your competitions comes down to a price war, which means the end of the lifespan of your products.
Right. So what other tips can we give?
Well, in the next thing that they can do is to improve their marketing efforts.
Yeah, Eric, I noticed that when times are bad, everybody will slow down and cut their advertising budget, right?
That's the first to go.
Yeah. Actually, the advertising budget is your most important budget because that will bring in customers for you.
Yes, and also to bring in awareness as well as to tell your competitors, hey, I'm still alive, I'm not dead yet. Right? So these are what we call marketing efforts. And you can maximize your online marketing as well as your offline marketing.
Yes, if you have been doing online marketing all the while, it's time for you to look at offline methods of marketing and vice versa.
Yes.
You know, Eric, talking about marketing, I noticed, I'm not sure whether you notice, a lot of billboards on the highways, they're empty right now.
Yeah, I've seen a few that's quite empty. And even those who are very old have not been taken down.
Ah, yes, they have not been renewed.
Not been renewed.
And those that have been taken down, there's no replacement ads for those advertisement spaces.
So even those advertising agency also having a hard time.
So I've been talking to some businessmen lately. I told them, when times are bad, you should double up your efforts to look for new customers. Double up your advertising. So what I hear is the feedback is that no point, Andrew. When times are bad, no matter how you advertise, the
People
sales is not going to come in. So I myself save my advertising budget. So Eric, what do you think? Is this a good move?
So it also depends on what products that they are selling. If you are selling a consumer mass market products, I believe that you shouldn't stop your marketing efforts.
Yeah, Eric, I believe it boils down to what we advised earlier. If you didn't do your step number 1 and 2 properly, there's no point increasing your advertising budget, right? Because you don't have a USP. You are actually doing your competitor a favor. When the customer passes by the signboard, he says, wow, that is a wonderful product. Who is this guy selling? Why don't I buy from his competitor who is cheaper? So you're advertising for your competitor
So
instead.
you're creating the awareness on the needs of the products. Not the
That's why they are wasting their budget, right?
So they don't feel the efficiency. So probably they need to revise their marketing efforts.
Yeah,
not to cut them.
review their competition and review their USP. Make sure the thing that you advertise, the customers can only buy from you.
Yes,
Then you're going to make it
they
right.
only sees your brand and no other brands. So these are the things that you got to do.
Right.
It's not an easy job, but it's something. If you want to stay in the market, that's something you need to do.
Yeah, guys, don't cut your A&P budget. Instead, review your USP first, review your competition, and come up with the advertising that is going to draw customers to your business instead of your competitors. Okay.
Then improve your quality.
Right. Yeah. We go to again eating places where the quality is so bad. And recently I had a bad experience where I went into a eating place and the foreign workers were cooking. So some foreign workers, they actually can cook. But this particular one, was really bad.
Okay.
I just took one mouthful and I placed the food back and paid my bill and went off.
So it also boils down to some F&B outlets. If by all means give back the local taste.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, what I gave is just an example. F&B industry. I believe all their industries is the same. Where you have to improve your quality a bit. You have to step up your pay more attention and take more effort.
Yes, especially pay more attention to your customers' response.
Right.
When you see that the whole plate of food have been just taken out, without getting a bite, then you got to.
Yeah,
really
don't just tell yourself maybe that customer is not hungry.
Or maybe he don't like the taste.
Only he doesn't like the taste.
So you got to review all this, and all F&B bosses, this is very detrimental because one bad service, that's all you can do.
Yeah, we have come across a lot of people operate food and beverage outlets whereby the customers go to complain with the manager and they just shrug it off. This is one lousy customer, always complaining.
Or they just like to argue with the customers.
Maybe he wants a discount.
So these are the things that I think F&B operators need to pay special attention.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt there are instances of bad customers who
There
take
will be,
advantage,
whether any businesses, there will be bad customers.
But as a boss or a manager, you must take seriously when people complain, right?
And you must see that the complaints are valid complaints. And in a way, you got to tackle those complaints.
Right. You must get, especially big companies. I had one experience where my friend bought a Baskin Robbins and the quality of that ice cream was not good. So he really went to complain. And they gave him free ice cream for many rounds.
Yes.
Just to make him happy.
Yes, true.
So he's happy and he tells all his friends, this is a good company that takes seriously all their customers' complaints.
So, like big or small companies, I believe that should the complaint is a valid complaint, that company should actually take care of the response for the customers and actually pacify them in a way. Right.
So our final advice is, don't give up. Bad markets and bad economy will come around every now and then.
Yes.
Okay, don't give up on your business.
It's like a cycle is come on and off, on and off, on and off.
Keep trying and stay optimistic. Keep improving yourself, your quality, and your marketing efforts. Okay, and if you want to go to temple or go and get your feng shui sifu, by all means, okay,
please go.
Just don't give up on yourself and your business.
Right. We have come to the end of our show today. We hope you have enjoyed it. We will be back with a brand new derailment story for our next editions on ASEAN Biz soon.
Thank you and goodbye.